Hello, my absolutely beautiful astrology soulmates. And I know it is late slash early hours for you over there in the States on that side of the world. So if you are up and you're awake and you're joining me, that's really awesome. I'm really happy to be here live with you. And I'm going to be doing the weekly live this week because wow, there is a lot of energy coming up for next week, and certainly as we move into March. So we have quite a bit to talk about. Now, before we jump in and start talking about exactly what's going on this week, because it is busy, one of the first things I want to remind you is that there is a Venus playlist that we created for you, and it's all about the Venus retrograde. And there are 4 different videos in that series. Now, the first one is about the Venus retrograde in general so that you can see it in a general way, look at the astrology of it, understand the astrology of what's going on, some basic levels to start thinking about it. And if you're new to astrology, that might be a really great video to start with. And as you go along, we're adding some other things in it. The next video has myself and Nicholas Polomonakis, who is just one of my favorite humans from Sparkles of Gold Astrology. And I always feel like when he comes, his presence adds a lot to our community. And he and I were talking about the Venus retrograde, including Mercury, the eclipses, the Aries point that's going to continue to be hit over and over and over again, especially as we are traveling through March and April. So we're talking about how does that shape the experience that you're going to have with it and things for you to be able to consider. The next video is myself and Tiffany Harlick, who you guys would know from the 2025 annual videos and from our digital transit calendar that you can get still at Wise Guys Collective. And she's talking about how fixed star curb actually puts an impact at this Venus retrograde, looking at where we have betrayed ourselves. Where are the stories of where we have betrayed ourselves? And the last video in that series, the last video as of now, let me say that because this has launched an entire Venus series of ideas for me to really bring Venus more to this channel and teach about it, teach about the history. Anyways, so it's Andrea Michelle, and we're talking about the asteroid goddesses as they are presenting themselves in this Venus retrograde as well. So to navigate this Venus retrograde really brilliantly, knowing what's coming up on the test, right? This is the study sheet. So I really hope that you take advantage of that. I'll make sure that those videos are available for you at the end, and that playlist is available as well. And keep in mind that the Venus Reset program, that I have 22 days of bringing Venus into your life, into your body, healing, clearing out that sacred bowl, getting to know your Venus energy, your attraction energy, looking at where we betrayed ourselves, looking at what we're reclaiming and we're calling back. We have to empty the container before it can be filled again so that we can attract. We can attract and amplify what we want. The Venus Reset program is on sale until April 12th. It is the most Venusian thing I think I have ever built. It is easy. It is loving. It is intense where it needs to be intense, but it is really easy for you to follow, and you have access to it for a lifetime. So click in the description box down below. Take advantage, jump into the Venus Reset program. And just FYI, the Venus portions of development on this channel and in Stormy Grace really are coming along. There's going to be more to add to that. Okay, let's talk about what is coming up this week. We're heading into March. Now, first of all, this week does carry a lot of forward momentum. It does, because we're just a day off of Mars turning direct in that Cancerian energy, and that was just on Sunday. So this energy does invite us to take action, right? But it's important, it's so important to remember that the Mars retrograde cycle, we're not really fully out of it until May. As well, Mars remains out of bounds. It's out of bounds until April 7th. So the actions that are happening, things that are coming up, where it's like, that's an extreme reaction. That's a very violent reaction. That's a very sudden reaction. These things are still going on until April 7th. And Mars is not going to be more in that real forward momentum, I don't think, until we get to April 17th, where we see Mars now officially pushed back through those degrees of Cancer into the degrees of Leo, because April 17th, Mars will move into Leo, and then we're heading. So the point is, is that we've still got a little over a month and a half to be working with the Martian energy. And so it's this reminder that I want to offer to you that we're still gathering really vital information about what actions we're going to take moving forward. What do I do? We might not have all of the pieces just yet, right? Now, I don't know about you, but listen, this Mars coming direct, the apples and bananas were crazy over here. My husband, who never gets sick, literally never gets sick, got so sick, he's ended up in the hospital for a week, right? And he's a Cancer rising. On the same time, and he had so much stimulated on this particular area of his chart, then there was a family member who suddenly died quite violently. On the other side, we saw things happening in the world where we're like, what is that? Where did that come from? It seems so out of bounds. There was another astrologer who went rogue and said that all of us are absolutely terrible. It has been a lot coming as Mars is getting ready for this station direct. And so now we're going to watch as we move forward where some of the revelations of what happened as Mars was getting ready to take that turn is going to give us the next set of information that we need to consider our new actions moving forward, new truths that have been revealed, right? Now, we've also got this new moon happening this week, right? So this is a great place to plant those seeds of intention and trust the intuition. That's the other part of this Mars retrograde new moon coming on, is that sit with your intuition for a minute. Sit with the intuition. Listen to the intuition. What is that directing our actions to? And there's a lot of faith. There's a lot of faith that's on the table. I'm going to have to be still and be quiet, or wait, watch, and pray and see what I need to do next. I don't have exact clarity, right? Now, I heard somebody say this, and I think this is really great, and feel free to take it how you need it, but it really reminds me of where we're at this particular time, especially if you've been feeling a little bit stuck. Somebody said, I have really good ideas, but I need God ideas. And, however you conceptualize God, that is like, however you conceptualize that, work with, but I understand the sentiment behind it. The sentiment is what got me, and it made me think about this time that we're in right now. Now, we've also got Mercury on the 1st of March entering into its pre-retrograde shadow time. So let me tell you, we are still gathering information. And then right behind that, Venus is going to step into the retrograde as well. So this week truly is a pretty powerful blend of reflection, initiation, and also needing to follow the intuition and inspiration, right? It's kind of a dynamic week. So let's officially jump into this week and see what we are working with. So coming here on Monday, February 24th, we're coming in with the moon in the vibration of Capricorn, which I think is nothing but really good for us, coming off of having a lot of that Mars intensity energy. Please let me know in the comment section down below what was happening for you or coming up in your life as Mars was stationing direct this last couple days, this last week, right? Because it's been a whole thing. So let me know in the comment section down below. But coming in with the moon in Capricorn, the week begins earthy, and earthy, grounded vibes. And this is setting the tone for us as we're coming in Monday. One, to be practical, to be strategic. Capricorn is also a cardinal energy, so it encourages us to have this fresh start. Take initiative where we can this week. Begin the week on good footing, especially any tasks or any chores that you've got to do that really require you to be disciplined and be structured. If you've been feeling stuck or you've been feeling like you were kind of kicked off your routine in some way, Monday's a great day, especially at that emotional level, to get back on track. Remember that, right? Like discipline and structure sometimes are just the best thing for us, right? It's not so much how do I feel about everything, but what is the plan? What is the plan that I'm making that actually gets me the results that I want on the other side? So that's something that we can think about. Now, before we get to the end of the day, well, it's going to be later in the day, 8:28 p.m., and this is Mountain Time, Colorado time, just going until 10:39 p.m. We're going to see that the moon is getting ready to go void, of course, but before it goes void, of course, it makes its last aspect to a planet before it gets quiet. And that last aspect is going to be the moon in a sextile to Neptune. So as the moon is in this ease and this harmony with Neptune here, this is where I think it's so good on Monday to really like dig into the depth of what your intuition is showing you. Pause for a minute, breathe, wait, what's the intuition? And if you can't hear your intuition just yet, ask for guidance to be shown to you throughout the void of course time, because the void of course time is not, you're not going to be doing and starting a whole bunch of new things, right? But this last aspect, this little sweet touch in, I think is perfect for balancing all of that practical effort, all the practical things that need to happen in that Capricorn vibration, but also being really creatively inspired. So my question for you is, as you're traveling here on Monday, where can you bring like a touch of imagination or a touch of where your intuition is guiding you into your daily routine? This is a great question to consider. And I just want to share an example with you. Going to the gym, working out, being healthy, over 40, all of these things really, really important. And I kept trying to go to the gym and do things in a certain way, but my intuition was like, no, let's do this. And let's actually bring in some more dancing. I've been dancing since I was 3 years old, right? I don't know if you guys know that. Did you know I'm a tap dancer? Did you know that? So I had to start to trust my intuition on it a little bit and not push so much for just going to the gym and just grabbing those weights, but where could I bring more dance and more of that movement in? And immediately my body was responsive, my heart was responsive, my head was responsive, in this space of it has to be disciplined and it needs to be structured and it needs to be done, but it doesn't also need to wreck your being. You know what I'm saying? So there's just something for you to be able to bring into your consideration for how you can add a little bit of that to your week. Now, just behind that, we see here, we've got the moon moving into the vibration of Aquarius. So it's late evening at this point. And we're shifting that energy from being really practical and really grounded. And now we're coming with our emotions into the air. So we move into a space of innovation. So this is a good time where whatever came up for you in your intuition, whatever came up for you, and how do I balance being practical and playful and practical and creative? I need the discipline, but I also just don't want to feel stuck in this box. So this is a great energy to brainstorm. Connect with the community, right? Like I went and found a community of people who are bachata dancers, and we're doing bachata, we're doing kizomba. If you've never done kizomba, I really recommend it, right? And with all the Venus reset work that I've got going on this side, and I'm sharing, unlocking the hips, moving that bowl, it's absolutely brilliant. So where can you find some community? Where can you engage in some ideas here Monday, going definitely through Tuesday, that kind of push the boundaries of where you were before, or it allows you to think about it differently. It allows you to feel through it, the moon, differently as well. It's a great energy. Now you'll have that guiding you all the way through until we get really into the beginning of the early day Thursday. So you've got several days to work with that moon in Aquarius vibration. Okay, Tuesday, we're going to see that Mercury comes into a conjunction with Saturn in Pisces, and this is about 5 o'clock in the morning. So this aspect is quite sobering. It's quite sobering, right? Because it's like, what is that? What is that? It's a very Saturnian concept, even in the vibration of Pisces. It's like, okay, how I'm thinking, how and what I'm communicating is going to it just gets a little bit more serious, because the mind wants to wander in Pisces in those dream-like waters, move into the in-betweens, move into the intuition, but Saturn demands clarity and responsibility. So this is a perfect place where I say yet again, I think it is a great day to, one, do the best that you can to set realistic plans for your dreams, for your ideals, for what you're doing going forward, but they've got to be based in intuition. They have to align with your intuition, right? The head and the heart, when they get on the same page, you're going to be so powerful. So in this way, something else I think to think about this is, maybe reflect on it here on Tuesday as this aspect is pouring in. what what is it that you've been asking for help or for guidance on? And now practical plans or practical people are showing up to actually help you get that done, especially if you're following your intuition. What conversations need to be approached not from just the head level, but they need to be approached from the compassion, heart, intuitive level, maturely, in a lot of honesty. This is going to be a day to really have that particular experience. Okay. Now, as we roll over in that energy, just to say it's going to carry us well through Thursday, or excuse me, Tuesday into Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, 3:04 p.m., so late in the day, going all of the way until, what is this, about 1:40 a.m. on Thursday, we're going to see that the moon gets into a position of void of course. But before it goes void of course, its last sweet little touch is going to be not so sweet. It's a square. The moon is in a square to Uranus. So as this last aspect happens and kind of launches us into the void of course time, it can be a disruption. It can be a disruption, right? It's like that's emotionally surprising. That didn't turn out the way I thought it would. Stay flexible, stay adaptable, stay open-minded, right? Sometimes, especially emotionally, things come out in ways that I never thought possible. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through a situation and needed to have a really like big kid kind of conversation, whether it be with my husband or a coworker or a colleague in something, and I can get so wrapped in this idea that it's going to go like this, and then they're going to say this, and then I have to say this, and it's like I'm almost coming in defensive. You know what I mean? Even if it's like a soft defense, and then the conversation gets had or information as revealed, and literally emotionally and prospectively, it works out in a way that's very different, right? Like we get on the same level, or there's just so much clarity, we find that we need to break apart or do something different. Anyways, my point here is using the astrology and making it practical. Stay adaptable. Plans change. It's going to go exactly the way that it needs to go. Like you are just not big enough to F this thing up. It's going to go exactly the way that it needs to go. Okay. After that, very long void of course when we get into Thursday. And remember that void of course is hours and hours long. So as we have those void of courses that are really, really long, the energy is not doing anything. It's not high movement. It's about finishing and completing things, not starting new things. There's not necessarily a ton of new progress. It's just about working on what is. And then we'll see the moon get into Pisces here on Thursday. As the moon travels here, I just like to think of the moon gliding into Pisces. This is very good visual for me, gliding into Pisces. But this is a beautiful next couple days for creativity, for healing, for connecting to the things that are mystical, to connecting to whatever your conception is of a higher power, God, any of these things, right? That bring that salve, that bring that inner healing, that inner peace to you. I also think because we're getting ready on this particular day, it is a great day to get ready for ceremonies. Spend some time around water. Spend some time looking at your spiritual experiences. If there are things in your world at this particular time that need a little bit of a detox, get ready to do that. Bring in the herbs to your altars, your tables, your kitchens: basil, lemon, balm, sage, nutmeg, mint, water, right? Like bring those all in. Now, before we get to that new moon vibration, we're going to see that Mercury moves into the vibration. Mercury sextiles the vibration of Uranus, and the sextile is pretty nice, okay? So first of all, please expect it. Expect that life will surprise and delight you. Expect that life will bring you fresh ideas, fresh insights, new perspectives, new information that actually helps shift you along the way. And in this particular space, although Mercury is traveling through that Piscean vibration, making this connection with electrical Uranus in stable Taurus, your mind is making connections. It's making these connections quickly. It's like, oh, this and this and this. Oh, my intuition is saying this. So keep a notebook around. Keep it handy. Keep one of those little, remember they used to like say they were the little nerds where they had the pens and the pocket notepad. I always thought they were cute, right? But keep that hand, because what happens if you get a flash of inspiration, or you were thinking about something and you're like, okay, universe, like, please send me help. And then just a vision just a quick thing runs through your head, write it down, right? That's a great energy for that. Then we will see the new moon happening at 9 degrees of Pisces. So please grab your personal chart so that you can see where this is for your chart, because there's absolutely no way myself or anybody on YouTube can tell you that you're going to be having the best new moon, the worst new moon, whatever. We can't tell you absolutely any of that without knowing what your actual astrology is from your chart. And I just want to be so emphatic about that, right? But 9 degrees of Pisces, find what house that's lighting up for you, any other connections it's making as well. You can also head over to stormygrace.com, and I've got the Astro Encyclopedia. So it'll tell you about the moons in different houses. I've got a video for it. So lots of help to help you try to get to your astrology, especially if you're new. Either way, this particular new moon it's a powerful opportunity to plant your seeds of intention. And the intention is around healing, forgiveness, letting things transition where they need to be, transcending old situations in your life and coming to a new place. Spirituality, creative projects is about the way you move in your intuition, right? There's a lot that is going on here that you're planting your seeds of intention, but the Piscean vibration invites us to also be so inspired that we're inspired to dream big, that we are willing to release, right? Release what's no longer serving our highest good and getting us on the path to whatever that highest good is, whatever that direction is. I heard another phrase that I've kind of been breathing this in. And this person was talking about being on the road to have a particular, this is what I'm doing. This is the place that I want to go, right? And to get there, I need to, as best as possible, surround myself with only quality people. And what that doesn't mean is that people are good or people are bad. It's simply, are you on the road that I'm going on as well? Or am I spending time over here letting this be a distraction instead of traveling with the people that are also trying to go where I'm trying to go? So as you can see, listen. I'm a Virgo rising with Pisces at the ascendant. Okay, the North Node's in Pisces, you guys. I'm thinking all of this. It's so relationship based for me right now that it's even pouring out. I feel like in all of the work that's showing up here, I'm really thinking, how can you use this? How can you move towards your greatest good? And how is that showing up through me? So, okay. So, maybe a great question to, to ask here on Thursday as you're considering the day in total is there something that you can, are willing, need to forgive, to surrender, to release in order to create space for that new dream to flourish? You're planting these seeds of intention. Are you putting the good water, the quality tenders to your lawn in there so that it's a really, really lush place? Now that energy is going to carry us all the way through Friday. And as we get to Saturday, busy, busy, busy. If I was going to tell you to circle a day in your life on a calendar for this week, it would be Saturday, hands down. So first and foremost, as we're coming in to Saturday, we see that Mercury is not only entering into its I just shut my whole thing, entering into its pre-retrograde shadow time here in the vibration of, well, it's actually going to enter right in that last little vibration of Pisces and getting ready for the Aries retrograde. So anyways, Mercury is moving to pre-retrograde shadow time at this time. So start to pay attention to what is starting to come to your attention. Where is it like maybe an old decision, maybe something you've already been working on during this Mars retrograde cycle is coming back and you're like, I need to start to reconsider that. Or if you need clarity, you need clarification on something, definitely this is a great time to ask to be shown that, to be invited to the table of conversation of review, right? That would be a great energy. Behind that, we are going to see that Venus is gonna go retrograde. Venus is going to go retrograde. But before Venus goes retrograde, we will have the moon move into the vibration of Aries, which I actually think is it's a bit helpful. It's like, all right, Venus, we're getting in alignment here. So as the moon moves into the vibration of Aries, we are going to move from this dreamy, reflective kind of energy and give way, like literally in Piscean form, give way to Aries energy that is like, I'm a little bit more bold, I'm a little bit more dynamic, I deserve to be here, Danya, damn it, I'm on a fresh start. So this is a wonderful time. The energy is up, it is active, it's time to take that inspired, intuitive action. Maybe you'll feel more emotionally motivated where to do that. You know, what little actions that maybe even came up at the new moon just a couple days ago, you're feeling like, okay, I can take some baby steps here. But I do, again, want you to keep in mind that while Mars is direct, it's still out of balance. Where this is really useful as the moon is coming here is to remember that the Mars out of balance also is an encouragement to take actions that have previously been outside of your vibration. And now maybe you're a different vibration, or it's been outside of the scope of your understanding of how to do that. So you might be doing some things that stretch beyond your comfort zone, and emotionally as well. Forgiveness. If there's been something around forgiveness or something about courage or being seen at an emotional level, and now you've got this chance to kind of pop up and have courage find you, right? You know, courage is out here looking for you, and you're like, but now you're ready to step up. This can be a wonderful energy for that. Okay, then we will see at the end of the day that Venus is going to go retrograde. So keeping in mind that this is 5:35 p.m. and this is going to be Colorado time, so mountain time in the United States, that we'll see Venus step into that retrograde in the vibration of Aries. So as Venus stations retrograde, you've got the Venus playlist that I hope you dig into, turn it on podcast style and just love on yourself while you're listening, okay? But it is initiating a really powerful time for reviewing love, value, finances, aesthetics, 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 aesthetics. It is important. Please do not let anybody out here tell you the aesthetics of your life absolutely don't matter. That is inaccurate. And during this Venus retrograde in Aries, this is something that we're going to address as well. Now, that Aries energy may make this review feel a bit more urgent, right? It can feel urgent, but I think that the true gift when we come through this is learning to act from a place of authenticity rather than impulse, and reclaiming what is me, what is mine, what is my value. What I value is the vibration that I'm also going to call into my life to experience and to have around me. And also an aesthetic. Like, what is your vibe? And we have to be really honest with each other. When you show up someplace and you're just in your sweats and you're whatever, you have put no effort in, the response is different than when you show up and you're a little bit more poised, you put in a little bit of effort. So being honest during the Venus retrograde about what Venus is about as well. And it is an aesthetic, right? It's a desire to have something. So I align my being with it, with what will call it to me, and the aesthetic is in there as well. So I think it's a great time. So of course, Venus in Aries was what's that body doing, right? All right, as we're going to close out the week and we get to Sunday, we are going to see a couple of things happen. First and foremost, happy March. I didn't say that, but happy March as we roll into it. So we're going to see, first of all, that the moon is going to move into, yet again, a pretty long void of course position, and this will happen about 7 a.m. Mountain Colorado time. So as the moon moves into that position, it looks like the moon is going to hit a square with Mars before it does that. So as the moon squares against Mars for this last little moment of dance, and we've just had Venus go retrograde in Aries, Mars directs. Mars is getting a lot of action at this particular time. So as this void, of course, is happening, and because it is particularly long, emotions and actions can feel like they are at odds, like they're not in alignment, right? So if you're finding that you've got this tension, this is really coming up, and it could be the tension of ideas, the tension of feelings, definitely emotional tension coming up. Take a deep breath before acting or reacting, right? We're evolving that Aries portion of the chart that is not just built on impulse. It's built on instinct. It's built on initiation. But what is the deeper need that is pushing, firing Aries, right? that energy to the surface. What's a little bit deeper under there? So just to have a little bit of consideration around that as you're traveling there. Okay, and then we are going to see that Mercury comes into a conjunction now with Neptune here in Pisces, and this is all happening while the moon is void of course as well. But this particular aspect is going to amplify intuition, amplify that creativity, amplify a bit more compassion, forgiveness, these kinds of things. So it's an ideal day, really. And as I'm, putting this all together, I think that Sunday is kind of an ideal day for some meditation, for some breathing, for maybe a spiritual study, a mythical study, any practice that kind of helps you connect to something that may be giving higher guidance. Almost like, I use often the example of sitting in a stadium, and sometimes you have the best seats in the house. You're down on the field, you can see everything, the sweat. It's really like the best. But sometimes this is too close and we need to just get a little bit higher up in the amplified seats so we can look down and say, oh, I didn't even see this happening over here, to consider in how I can be creative, how I can play, how I can release something, how I can forgive. I never considered it like that. So it's a great energy for that. The last aspect that we'll be experiencing as we're going to experience Sunday and closing out our week is the sun in a square to Jupiter. Now, this is happening at about 11:18 in the morning. So again, the moon is still void, of course. So this is where I also want to say, sun square Jupiter, please just watch for overdoing it. Overdoing it. It's like I'm doing the most. And listen, when I'm not connected to something spiritual, it would seem I do the most. That's my experience. I don't know about you, but I can become the most really fast. And while having confidence and optimism is so good, try to stay a bit grounded in somewhere in some kind of reality. Like maybe don't let the magnifying head get too far off track if that is an option. So a question I would leave you with as you're experiencing yourself in your life in these aspects on Sunday is, where might you be in a space of overstimulation, right? It's the most. You're at the most. You're at the capacity of all of your resources and something is overstimulated. Are you spending too much money? Is there too many distractions? Are you talking bad to yourself too much, right? Where is a space where you can consider here on Sunday to get quiet, get honest, get in alignment with the intuition. Have you ever had these moments where you're going about, you're doing the dishes, you're doing all these things that, you're doing the normal mundane things, and you just kind of hear a quiet voice that's like, let's do less, or no, or yeah, let's definitely listen to that song while we're folding the towels. You know what I mean? Like, where is that place? Or I can tell you that I had a full experience. I was at the gym. Oh, so much of my life is the gym right now. I'm telling you what, is Aries season here yet? And I wanted to listen to this certain song because I was like, I'm trying to hype myself up to get into this workout, right? And my intuition was like, no, we're not doing some dubstep. We're going to put on a little bit of country. It's got a nice bassy pace. And it was really so soothing to my body as I was doing this workout. And it was a wonderful workout. So where is your intuition even, pushing you or encouraging you to look at something in a different direction as well? It's going to be a great day to use that energy on Sunday. Now, March is busy. It's a busy time. I cannot tell you that it's going to be the worst, the most busiest month of your life. It's going to be the best month of your life. I can't tell you any of that stuff without looking at your actual astrology chart and going over what your patterns are. So if that's you, if you're ready to sit down and see what is going on in your life, I would love to be in a session with you. We can click in the description box down below. Jump into the Venus Reset program. We need it. Call femininity back into your life. There's softness. Would you like to be soft? Would you like to just like love how you feel standing in your own hips? Would you love to feel strong and beautiful and creative and like you're not having to fight for everything? You're not living in the dynamic of needing to be the masculine when that's not the vibe, right? So anyways, come and meet your Venus. It's on sale in the description box down below. I love you so much. I'll put the timestamps for this in the description box down below in just a minute, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone. I love you guys.